The hidden edge of Exmoor is 7 miles long. Stretching between Porlock in the east and Boscastle in the west, it is one of the least accessible coastlines in the United Kingdom.
Well, here we have a glimpse of the hidden edge of Exmoor. The coastal footpath goes high above the shore, as you can see over there, over 1,000 feet contour up there. So the features such as the cliffs, the caves and the waterfalls are not visible from the footpath at any place. Being very remote is magical in a way, because you have the whole place to yourself for a start, only the seabirds and any other creatures that might be around. There's no point in imagining that you're going to meet anybody or that anybody's going to rescue you if anything goes wrong, so you have to be completely self-supporting, and you have to enjoy it on a day like this while the weather's fine, and then you have to get yourself home safely by climbing up an escape route back to civilization and the coastal footpath.
The story of the exploration of the hidden edge began nearly 100 years ago, when a Cambridge geologist called Newell Arbour became fascinated by the rocks and cliffs of the North Devon coast. He explored as much as was possible at the time, taking photographs with his big plate glass camera. Kes and his wife Liz recently inherited Newell Arbour's equipment and glass slides, and also the challenge that Newell Arbour set future generations in the book he published in 1908.
Original copy.
That's good.
Right, here it is, look. It would be a proud accomplishment to have traversed the whole of the shoreline from Porlock to Boscastle. Whoever manages to accomplish this feat in the future will have seen wonders in the way of cliff scenery and can also boast a remarkable record.
Well, I met Kester in Bristol, and he was a potter at the Folk House, and so I thought that I was marrying a potter. I knew he painted, I knew I was marrying a painter, but I must say in the first 2 years we were married, he didn't really take me on expeditions. He used to sort of leave me. I soon put a stop to that. I wasn't going to be left out of it. I made sure that I came along to every single expedition I could.
I've been very lucky, because a lot of my friends that I was climbing with before I got married were soon forced to give up their climbing, their exploring and their caving by their partners. I suppose I must be grateful that I was allowed to continue.
That all women stayed behind in the house. Let's face it.
No?
Are indoors. You're not filming, you're not recording this, are you? Let's face it, you did.
Kes's involvement with the hidden edge began in the 1950s, when a climber called Archer failed to get a place on the British Everest expedition and decided to explore the North Devon coast instead.
We went along really as Sherpas with this gentleman. We had no idea what he was up to. He never told us about the challenge. He never told us about the fact that it had never been done before. He was a very bad-tempered, grumpy old so-and-so anyway, but he was conducting his own pioneering challenge that he'd found in Mr. Arbour's book. And some of his friends had gone on the 1952 Everest expedition. He hadn't achieved this, so he thought he would do his own Everest. And the Exmoor coast had never been traversed at sea level from Porlock to Martin. So this gentleman, Mr. Archer, came to us to help carry his heavy mountaineering gear.
Climbing the Exmoor Traverse is different from conventional climbing. It's really mountaineering in reverse, because you go down to start the traverse and then you've got the long haul back up at the end of the day, which can be quite tiring. And the traverse is horizontal mountaineering. It doesn't attract many conventional climbers because of the different techniques that we have to use and because of the difficulty of access.
The challenges are, first of all, mountaineering. It's serious mountaineering, because you've got cliffs 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 feet, vertical cliffs. So the mountaineering challenge is compounded by the tidal sea that we have. We've only got a limited time to walk on that beach before the tide comes in again. The water can rise vertically at 6 feet an hour. It is terrifying the speed at which the beach can suddenly become consumed by 6-foot breakers. We've had one or two rather dodgy moments. We just enjoyed the whole adventure playground feel of the place, except that you didn't meet anybody else in the playground. And in 40 years that we've been going out there, we've only come across 2 other groups of people, both of whom needed rescuing, because it is not only spectacular but also a very threatening and frightening place at times.
The hidden edge carries a health and safety warning. It should only be attempted with the help of experienced guides like Kez and Liz. For the less adventurous, the coastline can be enjoyed best from the safety of a boat. With a waterfall higher than Niagara, the tallest sea cliffs in England, and the second biggest tides in the world, it is a coastline which inspires awe.
Exploration is always exciting, to go somewhere where you've never been before, and the Exmoor coast is eroding all the time, and every time you come to a beach it's different because the sea has lifted all the stones and the rocks and moved them, and then you realise how beautiful it is and how privileged you are to be here.
Well, what we can see here is the highest marine cliff in England, which is the Great Hangman Hill. We've always called it the Great Hangman Gut. A gut is a great gash in the side of a cliff. That's the North Devon name for it anyway. A huge gash in the side of virtually a mountain, which is 1,000 feet high at the top. And the dark piece you can see is the 750 feet of vertical cliff that is one of the landmarks of the Exmoor coast.
I've actually sort of semi-abseiled and climbed down the gut. So we come in on the minus track, which is above, and then we start zigzagging across. And that, I never again. But I did it twice.
As an artist, Kez is attracted by the colours of the hidden edge and makes geological paintings for a book he and Liz hope to publish.
The colours are absolutely amazing. Brilliant greens and purples and browns and oranges and yellow ochre.
Well, obviously what you can see is what you might call earth colours that are made from oxides of iron and manganese and copper that are colouring the successive layers of rock. So you just use paints made out of the same minerals so that you get the true colours. This picture is a topographical record of how the Valley of Rocks appears in nature. It's geologically accurate. It also shows the caves and the deep inlets in a way that would not be necessarily visible in an ordinary photograph. It might be camouflaged by seaweed or by vegetation growing on the cliffs which would conceal the landscape underneath.